Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very spooky episode of Small Town Failing Podcast. I am your host, Joe, joined by a very spooky guest.
Ah,
First time. What was that?
yeah.
Was that you?
Well, yeah, you said I was spooky, so I thought I'd make a spooky noise.
Oh,
I don't know.
I got like a weird noise, but it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Sure.
One Miss Amy Morris from the Night of the Living podcast. That is, how long have you guys been around at this point, Amy?
17 years.
Dear God,
I
that's
know.
scary, right? I think
We're
a lot
about
of
to go to
people don't
college.
even realize there were podcasts 17 years ago.
Oh my God, it was only like in the last 5 years that I had to stop explaining what it was to people, you know?
That's
Like,
funny.
for
Yeah.
a very long time, that was my life. It's sort of like the radio, but like it's on the internet.
It's kind of like online dating, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like Leslie and I met on AOL, and
Right.
back,
It's
we've been
adorable.
together since she's listening and she's going to get so pissed, but I want
long time.
like 2001, but I mean we met probably in like late 2000, maybe early 2001.
Mhm.
Again, she's going to be so pissed. But like at the time, we still to this day, I don't think my parents know that we met on AOL, just because at the time it was like very like
The stigma
ugh,
of it.
it's
Yeah.
creepy,
Yeah.
yeah. But now it's just like nobody meets in person anymore, so like it's not really a big deal. And I feel like podcasts are the same way, right? Like
Everybody's got
first
one.
nobody knew about them, and then it was kind of like, oh, is this just some nerd talking about Game of Thrones in his
Yep.
basement, which it
Mhm.
is maybe 50% of them, and now
Yeah.
it's just like it's a thing,
Yeah.
like. So what I think I was trying to say is like Mark Maron probably owes you some sort of royalty or like a bit of gratitude.
Yeah, I would think that every podcast that existed before him,
Exactly.
it deserves like a minor cut because we blazed the trail.
Exactly.
And for no money, for just no money. For 17 years of negative money. We
But
do it
now
for the
you're
love.
making Mark Maron money, right? Like
Oh, yeah. Real talk, our advertising revenue from last month was $12. But, we'll see what happens this month.
that is $12 more than I'm making off of this goddamn thing. So
See, what we're doing, Joe, is so punk rock that people don't even understand.
it
We
is
do it for
maybe
the love.
that's a good way of looking at it, right? Like it's the fanzines of like
Yes.
the early 80s, and like
The
that's
zines, maybe.
yeah, how you
Like,
got like your info on
yeah,
Johnny Testicles or whoever the
I
big,
aspire to be the sassy magazine of podcasting, but yeah, it's probably like printed zines from some dude's basement.
yeah,
But it is literally the only punk rock thing I've ever done in my life. So,
have you ever gotten into a fist fight?
oh, I've done that.
Yeah,
Okay,
see,
but like
that's
one, and I was in 8th grade.
it's interesting. Like we're completely off topic now. Like I don't
Yeah,
know what
sorry.
constitute. No, I love this.
This is how my show runs. I make it happen everywhere I go.
This is my favorite. Because at the end of the day, like I do love these movies, but I want to say 90% of the listeners don't even watch them. So I assume
It
this is what they're here for. Yeah.
it has to be the same kind of thing every time anyway. But yes,
Yeah.
go on.
But what I was trying to say, like, I feel like that's punk rock is just like a term that gets thrown around. And I was never quite 100% sure, like, what punk rock is,
Oh, I don't know if I'm using it right.
Yeah, well, we're not, but what's
No.
interesting, I would say, like, oh, the kids probably know, but like they don't either. Like this, we
No.
should, but we don't. Maybe nobody does.
Not anymore.
That's deep, right? That's real deep.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Speaking of the kids, I work. So my like claim to fame is in punk rock is that I was at the night before CBGB's closed. I was at the show. The
That's
Misfits
fucking
played.
cool.
I feel like that's punk rock.
That
Um,
is.
but even that, like I've told some of the younger people I work with, and the response is, "What's CBGB's?"
Huh?
And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like,
I know.
so
These only just recently, like in the last couple of years, we started hiring people where I work that I could be their mother.
mhm.
And that's a harsh, painful thing when you start realizing that. So I get it.
I'm sure you've had similar like sort of night terrors because we're in similar fields, but like
Mhm.
in sort of the advertising realm, like when I started and based on your LinkedIn when you started,
Oh, yeah.
everyone was our age or maybe a little bit
Yeah.
younger. And now we've grown up and gotten older,
Yeah.
but young people are still joining. And like, 15 years ago, I never thought of working with a 45-year-old, right? Like that would have been, oh, that's the owner. Like that's the
Right.
45 here. And
Right.
now I'm like, I'm still going in wearing jeans and like a t-shirt and like rapping with the young creatives
Doing
like, "Hey
happy
guys."
hours with them.
Well, no, I don't do
No.
that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how you are, but I am very much the type that like I want to be invited
Right.
and I'm pissed if I'm not, but I do not want to go and I will not go.
I'll tell you, the pandemic just really taught me the value of staying home,
Mhm.
and I'm really leaning hard into it.
I love it. It's the best. Um where the hell were we? So yeah, Night of Living podcast. You guys have been
You.
around for like 17 years. We
Yes.
met through, so I used to be on
Yeah.
Bloody Good Horror. And
Mhm.
they've been around what, like probably like 15 at this point.
Yeah, they were a couple years after us, maybe a year.
Yeah. So like we've met IRL
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of it, but oh, I should say Andy, who was also on the podcast with
Yeah,
you, he was on the Pumpkin Pie Wars episode, which was like 2 years ago at this point.
I remember.
And I remember we got together when you all were in Chicago for a Star Trek
For
convention,
my first Star Trek convention.
which we'll talk about that after because I'm
Yes.
interested.
Sure.
But we got pizza and we're sitting
Mhm.
around and like I think Freddie made a comment that like, why wouldn't you ask Amy? Because apparently that's where we're leading into your history with
Yes.
like Hallmark movies and the ilk. Are you a fan? Do you watch or what's your background?
I am a fan, and it was always easy to say, "Okay, it Joe, we're getting into, like,
Hmm.
my own, like, feminist thoughts and my own
Oh yes,
philosophy, and we're getting deep into, like, what it means to me to be a feminist."
yeah.
So, I've always loved that shit, but I felt ashamed to say I did.
Hmm.
You know what I
I
mean?
get it. Yeah, I
Uh,
think yeah,
yeah.
sorry. No, finish and then I'll go on
N
my rant.
No, I felt like I could say I liked the Hallmark movies because they felt kitschy enough and
Hmm.
campy enough that I could say I kinda liked it ironically.
Yeah.
'Cause I was just a dummy that didn't understand, just like what you like, Amy, just be happy.
Isn't it like not to get back into the like getting old thing, but I want to
No.
say it's around 40
Yeah.
where I just had this, and I think even I don't really do like New Year's resolutions or anything, but like there was
Mhm.
one year I made a conscious decision to like stop shitting on other people's music. And it
Yeah.
was probably around the age of 40 and like I just like I like awful screaming things and things people probably don't like. And like, especially like in this day and age, like if you like whatever you like if that makes you happy,
You're not hurting
what's
anybody.
exactly,
Like,
as long
it
as it's not like fucking Toby Keith or something.
well, that hurts people, right? Like,
Exactly.
seriously,
Yeah.
like, we can talk about that Jason Aldean shit. That actually does actively hurt people, but
But like people shitting on like Taylor Swift and stuff, like I
it's
just
like
don't get
it
it.
makes you don't understand what that she means to, like, my niece
Right?
and what she means to this city when Taylor Swift came through Cincinnati. Holy crap.
I love and not to get like completely off on a tangent, but I saw an interview with a one interview. It was on fucking TikTok. But it
The
was
news.
this woman kind of explaining that like, she gets a lot of crap, but like there's this amazing thing happening right now where like mothers are taking their daughters to see
Yes.
Taylor Swift and like they both love it and it's this huge bonding thing and it's bringing these women together and men too. But like I
Yeah.
think that is so beautiful and like just having a daughter myself, like even thinking about it
Mhm.
like I'm getting a little misty. um
She's gonna have the Taylor Swift they'll have the Taylor Swift of their generation, and you'll have
yeah.
to, like, suffer through it, but, like, in the back of your mind, remember this, you know?
Oh, 100%. And unfortunately for my wife,
Adorable.
my 12-year-old daughter is not a Taylor Swift fan.
No.
But
She like
like
the screamy things like dad?
no, she is very big into like anime and a lot of like the bleeps and bloops
Ah,
that come out of that. So like,
sure.
Leslie got her into Beyonce and there's like a shared connection there. And like when she was much younger, and I think it was more just to humor me and like I like
Mhm.
what dad likes, she listened to the Ramones and like that was like a big thing for me. But like
Right.
I love it that like Taylor Swift is, the tickets like $9 million, but like bringing these people together and like even the movie where you see these videos of like everybody's dancing and stuff and
It's
having
a
a good time. Like, that's not a bad
sisterhood.
thing, you know? Like,
It's a sisterhood with, like, all the genders underneath it, man.
yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's beautiful. But so the point being, yeah, I hit 40 and I wanted to shed the stuff I felt embarrassed about.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's where we were going with this, right?
yeah,
Like,
I
yeah.
won't forget because I got this. My memory's great. Um, so one of the things was just, Amy, admit you like to read smutty romance novels. Just
Mhm.
admit it and start checking them out from the library. And so Freddie can even see, that's my husband. So he can see what you're checking out and who gives a shit. And he
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit. And yeah, some of it's real weird.
But, like, yeah, like, it's not harming anyone. It makes you happy.
No.
Like, I feel like I don't think I coined this, but, like, you reach the Adam Sandler age where it's
Yeah,
like,
yes.
I loved his movies when I was a teenager, like Happy Gilmore and that stuff. And then you get into, like, your 20s and 30s, and it's like, "Oh, no, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah."
Uh-huh.
And then you get to an age, like, around, like, 40, and you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna love it. And I'm gonna watch King of Queens and I think I might like it. And I don't care who knows anymore."
I thought you meant the Adam Sandler experience where you're just like, I'm gonna wear basketball shorts everywhere and
Oh,
just
well,
be
yeah, that's true too.
a
Like
dirt
that's
bag everywhere I go, because that's kinda how I roll. I had to wear real pants into the office today, and it was awful.
it's
Anyway,
awful. Oh, can
yeah.
you hear my Roomba in the background that I forgot to turn off?
Nice, Roomba. Did you name your Roomba?
Rosie, which I assume is what
Rosie.
everyone has named their
Uh,
Roomba.
we, we've done some various Star Trek related because 'cause we've had a couple.
Oh, yeah, we went
It's
obvious
real nerdy.
Jetsons.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Um, but anyway, where the hell were
Yeah.
we going?
Sh
So I should say
Why haven't you brought Amy on, and now you did, and everything's fine?
now we're here. So yeah, so Hallmark movies, and I 100% get it. Like I think I've told this story a million times, but like Leslie and I started watching these, around the time that our second daughter was born, and we were just kind of sleep deprived and wanted something to just veg out to. And it's one of those things where you think you start watching it as a goof, and then all of a sudden you've
Yep.
watched like 30 hours of them, and they're like, all right, this isn't ironic anymore.
Yep.
And, and then again, I've said this on a bunch of episodes, but like in the last 5 years or so, or at least since I've been doing this podcast for like 2 years, like there's definitely been a sort of uptick in, I wouldn't call any of these feminist by any stretch of the
No.
imagination, but like there is like a lot more representation and a
Yeah.
lot more themes that don't align to just like, I got to find a man and that's it. There's a lot of movies we've done where like at the end there isn't like a romance or there isn't like all right, I'm moving to this small town to be with
Yes.
you
I'm gonna
gentlemen type
abandon my
thing.
big career for
I mean,
you.
it's still a lot of them, but
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a good mix at this point. So this movie that we're talking about, Two Bed, Two Bath, One Ghost, which one I thought was appropriate because this will come out next week just before Halloween. And
Perfect.
according to the overlords at Hallmark, we're recording this on Wednesday the 18th. Friday the 20th, the holiday season officially begins. Like they have
Are they trying to get the
complete
jump on, like, Mariah? Like, what's going on?
they 100% have said, "Fuck you, Halloween."
Yeah.
Like you can have to the 20th, but Friday the 20th we're showing Christmas movies and
Good
we're kicking it
lord.
off. So this will be our spooky Halloween episode and Night of the Living podcast. You guys focus on the spooky horror movies.
It's our
Is
bread and
there
butter.
something special that you guys are watching for Halloween, or is it a regular episode, or what's on the docket?
Every October, our theme becomes, TV Halloween specials.
Oh, I
So
love that.
special episodes of your regular, sitcoms or like your special presentations. We've been doing this for years now. Everybody's like, "Gosh, are we ever going to run out?" But no, there is
There's so much.
so much out there. Like, I just made everybody watch an episode of Sliders.
Oh,
That was a Halloween episode that I highly don't recommend watching. Season 3, episode 5, starring Zach Ward from A Christmas Story. Anyway, it was
huh.
terrible. We just watched Bunnicula,
Yeah, how was
things like
that?
that.
I remember that as a kid, but I could not
Yeah.
tell you like one thing about it.
It's the art, it's fine. You can find it. You know what people have done on YouTube? These kids today.
Mhm.
And they put versions of it on YouTube with the intact commercials from the night it aired.
Oh,
So it's this huge nostalgia bomb that, like, your brain can barely process. It's adorable.
Do you have like a special sort of hidden gem that's like your favorite from like Halloween specials or anything?
I'm the kinda it was they're not hidden, obviously, Roseanne, everybody knows those, but,
Yeah.
like, I have been on this kick to rewatch, sitcoms, mostly
Mm.
'80s, '90s stuff, um, just because why not? I need easy and gentle, just like these movies,
Mhm.
because the world is harsh and mean. So I've been rewatching stuff, so, like, I've made everybody watch Wings episodes. They did a Halloween
Oh,
episode a few times, and they were the worst ones, but,
I I wanna say I can picture what was her name? Phyllis? The
Oh,
lady.
yes. Oh my god, I just rewatched this show and I can't remember her stupid name, but I love
She
her.
was, like, dressed up as a witch or something, I
Yeah.
remember. Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah, I loved Wings. Oh, Faye. Faye was her name on the show.
Faye, yes.
I
Yes.
Crystal Bernard was an
Yeah.
early childhood crush. I mean, I was 12 when that show came on, so I don't
She
know,
was hot.
early.
They
Oh,
put her in tight little
100%.
pants. I get it.
I can't believe she hasn't been in. I'm sure she's been in some, but, like, more Hallmark movies or whatever
I
she's doing
know,
now.
right? Yeah. She seems,
Um,
perfect for that.
have you ever seen The Halloween That Almost Wasn't with Judd Hirsch?
No.
I would add that one to the docket.
Alright. We're gonna
It's
do
like
that
an
next year.
ABC special. It's like a
Perfect.
30-minute TV special. That one
Yeah.
always sticks out to me because there is also Judd Hirsch doing, like, disco dancing, um,
I love
as
him.
a vampire. And then also, I'm sure you've seen The Worst Witch with, Tim Curry.
I'm gonna tell you, I have not.
Oh, that
Like
one too.
I didn't have the cable when I was a kid, so I missed a lot of things and never came back to them. And that's
I would put
okay,
some effort
Worst
into that.
Witch, The Halloween That Never Wasn't or Wasn't Never?
The Halloween That Almost Wasn't. Yeah.
Almost Wasn't, thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I was
those are
busy watching an episode of The New Lassie or whatever it was called
mm,
last week, so I've clearly missed the boat. The Worst Witch,
amazing. Worst
okay,
Witch is Tim Curry, and he does
I
this
love
just
him.
batshit, like, pun intended, song
Mhm.
in the middle that'll, haunt your dreams. And then, what's her name? Farouz Balk from,
Oh,
The
Through the Balk
Craft?
from The Craft, yeah.
She is the lead in it. Yeah, so
She's an interesting lady.
get on it.
Mhm.
Did I say we watched, 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 witch, or 1 witch, 1 ghost for this episode? So
You did, yeah.
it's 2023. It just came out earlier this month. I thought it was a good one for Halloween because,
Yeah.
ghost.
Mhm.
Hallmark does not do a lot of sort of Halloween type movies.
I can't imagine the audience wants it.
Yeah, but this I feel like is fairly close. There's a ghost. There is a scene, and I guess let's we can just kind of jump into
Sure.
it. Directed by one Mr. Oh, what did I do? I lost my IMDb page.
Kevin Fair,
There you go.
'cause
Who
I thought it was a funny name.
Yeah, I did not recognize anything that he's done, but um, or sorry, I should say there's a handful of Hallmark movies of his that I have not seen, but I recognize the name. The one I do want to watch though is a 2021, I assume Lifetime movie, Soccer Mom Madam, that is on his
Oh.
IMDb page. I mean, I feel like
Yes, please.
that's one to like potentially put on the list.
That's right up my
Um,
alley.
so he directed this, starring one Miss Julie Gonzalo, who was actually in Cut Color Murder, which we just did with Jamie a couple months ago.
Oh, so
Um,
she's part of the stable.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
she's done a lot of these. Although we were not a huge fan of Cut Color Murder. Um, But fun fact, and I didn't realize this until I was reading the IMDb while watching this. Chris McNally is the love interest in this. He plays Elliot. They, in real life, are partners and have a kid together.
I read that. I don't know if you felt the way I did that these people have never met before.
It was
It was
so
lacking in chemistry.
I just and you know
Or are you
I
used to it?
I'll preface that I enjoyed this movie, but I felt like he was a little flat. And
Mhm.
I would say the other thing that threw me off, and this is no knock against him, but he has a very pointy beard that
Yeah.
makes his like chin look very pointy to the point of like evil henchman from like a Bond movie. Um,
Yeah. Like, his face, I was like, "Oh, that's a good face. I wonder why he doesn't do, like, bigger and better things," and I was like, "There's something not quite right with it."
There's something,
Pointy
yeah.
beard.
Um, but so now we're just jumping all over the place. But
Sorry.
so no, again, not your fault. This is 100% how this usually goes too.
Oh,
But
good.
so we start off, and it's kind of where in the past, the 1920s, we meet Ruby, who is the other star of this movie. And she is kind of this socialite, flapper type
Mhm.
gal at like a party, which turns out to be her 25th birthday. And we get kind of a quick info dump that her boyfriend at the time walks in and gives her flowers. The father is clearly upset. And, we get a little backstory that he comes from not the wrong side of the tracks, but not money, I guess, is
He's the
probably the easiest way to.
chauffeur.
Oh,
He's
that's
not
right.
on her level,
100% right.
you know?
So the father is opposed to that, and she kind of says, "Hey, this can't happen anymore. My father hates you. We can't be together." Blah blah blah. By the way, 25th birthday. They
Yeah,
are loaded. She gets a painting for her birthday,
I
like
thought that. I was like, "I guess she has everything, but, like, a
a
painting
painting of herself
of
too.
herself?"
Like,
Yeah. Well, I watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and all those bitches have a painting of themselves
true. But
in
can
their
you
house.
imagine if Mauricio gifted what's her name,
Kyle?
Kyle Richards, a painting of herself for her birthday and nothing else?
Right. Well, that's why they're separated right now.
Exactly. Well, are they separated? I
Oh, it's all very confusing,
They
right?
keep saying that the rumors aren't true, but then
They're playing it up for the new
you
season that's
know
about to hit.
she's supposedly dating a woman. I'm very excited to see how this plays out.
I can't even. I need to see Erica Jane's entire Ozempic journey. I need
Oh
all of it.
God, yeah. All right, so Ruby,
Yep.
1920s, they're not doing well. She can't see her, blah, blah, blah. Cut to 100 years later, and we meet Anna, who is played by Julie Gonzalo, who we mentioned.
Mhm.
She is kind of leaving her current job, or I didn't, to be honest, I may have just been talking. I didn't pick up what her current job was that she was leaving.
Her and her ex had a restoration business,
Oh,
and
there
then
you
they
go.
were breaking up and ending the business. So why
Yep.
do I have all of this detail in my brain?
Because I've watched a lot of these,
You have
and
well, I
I
didn't it wasn't a horror movie, and so my brain was able to take it in, I guess.
just,
That's
yeah,
everything else
maybe
I
that's
watch.
it. Maybe I've just seen so many of these that.
Yeah.
And to be
Your
honest,
nose blind.
once I get about 30 in, usually the kids go to bed and old
Yeah.
Mary Jane joins the viewing party.
Ah, boy.
um, so yeah, Chris McNally plays Elliot, who is her ex at this time. They are kind of splitting up, closing up shop and doing their thing. She is going to work for her father as a realtor and immediately is kind of bequeathed this giant mansion, which we see as the mansion from the opening scene where Ruby and her family lived. And the idea is like she has to sell this thing, and that's kind of her task. And in that process, she has to clean it up. She has to make it look pretty, do whatever. Um, so she goes to this house and is met by Ruby. And Ruby is a ghost that is not haunting, just kind of hanging out in this house.
Mhm.
And no one has ever been able to see her except for Anna. And the long-winded kind of getting around to this when we were talking about how Hallmark doesn't do Halloween movies, there was like 15 seconds of like, oh, this is kind of creepy when Ruby is standing there in like some sort of veil or sheet, and
Yeah.
like it was very ghost-like, and I was like, oh wow, look at this.
They're trying,
um
but then they were like, "Nah, just
and
kidding."
then yeah, from then on, like there's not much, but that was kind of my immediate thought, like this is very odd for Hallmark to try and scare you. And then two, my second thought was, what is Christina Ricci doing in this movie?
I wrote that in my notes. I was like, "That is not Christina Ricci."
Nope, it looks like Christina Ricci and oh shoot, I'm gonna forget her name. But
Elizabeth
we've
Olsen? That's who I was also thinking.
Elizabeth. No, who
No,
was I
okay.
from? Well, no, no, no. I 100% see it now that you say it. Actually, that is spot on. But the one Amanda Seyfried. I kept getting
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
If
Just watched
her,
Jennifer's Body again. Great
yep.
movie.
If her and Christina Ricci, I feel like had a love child, like
That's
that
her,
would
yeah.
be.
Yeah, this
Where the
chick was an amazing actress. She
she
really
was great.
acted
Like,
circles around everybody else.
yeah, she was great. So Anna pretty quickly accepts the fact that she is seeing a ghost and does not have any sort of issues. Like,
Nah.
hey, she goes to see her doctor, and I found this scene. Speaking of, feminism in these movies,
Uh,
the doctor pretty much starts explaining, like, oh, you just had a bad breakup, so like you're probably not doing well. And then he does backpedal a bit, and I did appreciate actually that he said maybe you should see a psychiatrist or psychologist
mhm.
and maybe talk to someone. I was kind of like, oh, that's very progressive for one of these movies, because
Yeah.
I think, like we kind of discussed 10 years ago, his prescription would be go find yourself a man. And,
You just need to fill up on vitamin D. But, like, she's so submissive, I almost get why everybody's like, "Oh,
yeah,
you." She's
yeah,
deeply, what's the word? Gullible? Like, she just believes and doesn't fight
yeah.
anything
I mean, it's a
at
perfect
all.
example. Like, she obviously is, oh no, you're not a ghost. That can't be. And
Right.
then Ruby kind of vapors through her.
Mhm.
She freaks out, sees the doctor, and then immediately is just like, no, I don't need to see anyone. Like, this is just my life now. I see ghosts.
And I'm gonna make the best of it
Hmm.
after I torture the lady who's been sitting here for 100 years. Is that the ghost mythology in this world?
That
You just
she's
hang out wherever you died? Like the
apparently, but on the flip side, later on, and we're jumping ahead now, like we discover that she can also work Anna's phone and like get
she
on
could
the
touch
internet.
things and yeah.
Like at a certain point, like figure out how to get a TV in there or something.
Mhm.
Like, or like that would be the first thing I would ask Anna, like, hey, can you get me a fucking laptop? And like maybe
Right.
I can, look up some porn and stuff. Like,
Maybe.
can we do this?
Right.
So the whole kind of storyline is Anna is trying to prove to her father that she can sell this house and be a big time realtor. Ruby is trying to be reconnected with Charlie, who is her gentleman caller that we originally met. And then there's also kind of the Elliot storyline where Elliot has kind of come back in the picture, and we slowly get some of
Yeah.
the backstory there that it is also Elliot's excuse me, Anna's father doesn't approve of Elliot.
Right.
And I don't know if we ever really get like a full download why other than like he's a woodworker, right? And like,
I think it's supposed to mirror the
oh,
Ruby
for sure. Yep.
Charles thing, but it isn't as clear, at
Yeah,
all. Yeah, it's not like yeah. But I think that from the father's perspective, yes, "You are too poor, I cannot marry you." You know?
exactly. Yeah. So like he's kind of back in the fold, and then he starts helping kind of spruce up the house. Meanwhile, the father is pissed that this is happening because he's like, we just need to flip this thing and get it out of here.
He's the worst dad.
He is just
He's a bad dad.
asshole like
Yeah.
through most of the movie, and I don't know if he ever really gets like some sort of redemption or
Brief.
yeah,
When we get there, I have a note.
yeah, and again, like I don't think anyone is going to be shocked to find out that Ellie and Anna end up at the end,
Yeah.
and there is kind of a hey, this is who I love, I need you to accept him, and the father does, and like that's kind of
In a
it. But
moment. In a
yeah,
moment. She has this, like, one moment of she's got some balls, and she says to dad, "Hey, I love him, you shouldn't tell me what to do. Quit it, man." And he's like, "You know what, babe? I got you. From now on, I'm gonna be the best dad ever."
yeah.
That was all it took.
But a week later, he's just back to like ditching her,
Yelling
and
at her, yeah, calling her
like
fat. "Do you need to eat that right now?" Like, stuff like the bad
you're gonna
dads
eat that
do.
whole thing.
Yeah. Give her a real body problem. Yes!
So the mechanics of ghosts in this movie are very loose.
Yeah.
When it starts and we see Ruby, she cannot leave the house, and then Anna is the first person that can see her. Then we kind of discover she can get outside of the house.
She just didn't
So
try hard enough.
she didn't try. Yeah. There's that, and then the thing that kept throwing Leslie and I off during this entire thing is, and they do kind of make comments on it, and it is kind of a running gag, but like Anna is talking to Ruby through 75% of this movie.
Yeah, not even
And
hiding it or whispering.
exactly. And they do
Yeah.
tip off with like the gardener's like, "Oh, what's wrong with her? Like she's crazy." But then there's like scenes where she's in like restaurants and coffee shops having full-on conversations. And every
But
once in a while they'll show someone look at her like, "Oh, that's weird." But like
yeah.
for the most part, she's just going about her business and no one cares.
That's the beauty of these kinds of movies, they're just not gonna worry about it. It's so soft
I
and
do.
rounded, and it's like playing gutter ball or, putting the things in the gutter ball, what is that called? When
Bowling?
you're bowling and they put
Mhm.
the balloon things in the
The
gutters.
balloon things in the gutter, yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
That was the
So
original
you
name of that band,
right?
Balloon Things in the Gutter for Soup,
For soup.
and they had
For
that
and then
song, Stacy's
yeah.
Mom.
That's not right. But no, you know what I'm talking about, so you can't it's such a
Yeah,
soft landing. This movie is not gonna worry about it at
exactly.
all.
Oh, Bowling for Soup did not sing Stacy's
No,
Mom.
that was Fountains of Wayne?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bowling for Soup sang 1985, and a friend of mine told me this fun fact, and it is a fact. So many people have mistaken Bowling for Soup as the people that sing Stacy's Mom that they
Oh,
actually recorded a cover and put it out and
wait
just said,
oh,
"Fuck it, like
then there you go.
we'll just do it." Um,
I'll have to check it out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm not yeah, I'm not like a big bully, but I'll yeah, sure,
Are
totally.
you? They were at Riot Fest this year, and my poor friend
Whoa.
came with me to Riot Fest. It was me and two other dads in my neighborhood, and neither we just go like they just go because they enjoy like kind of the outdoor festival thing and just hanging out and being away from the kids for the day. And
Mhm.
like the one friend, he did not know any of the bands except for Bowling for Soup, and we got there like as they were finishing, and he's like, "Oh, cool."
Aw, poor
So
guy.
so now we'll just hang out for 10 hours and I won't know anything, but
Yeah. Porta potties, yeah, that would be great.
where were we? So yeah, Anna's trying to sell this
Yeah.
house. Elliot is gussying it up. We start to see like some rekindling going on there.
Mhm.
Ruby is just trying to figure out her place in this world, and she wants to be reconnected with Charlie. And I think we kind of discover that she can cross over to whatever the other side is in this movie, but
Yeah.
she's just afraid that she's going to go there and not be with Charlie. So that's why she's kind of hung around for so long.
Mhm.
Did
I
you,
thought it
was
was
that
gonna
what you gathered, or it wasn't like explicit, I think?
no, it wasn't. See, at first I thought maybe it has something to do with the tree. The
Mhm.
flowers he brought her in the beginning when he was like, "Run away with me," and she's like, "You're too poor, ew." But like that's what it sounded like at the beginning for him to be her true love. I was like, "Whoa, you really treated him terribly."
Yeah.
So he brings her the flowers, she drops them, the tree grows there. And then they bring an arborist and they're saying the tree is dying. I
The
thought the
tree is dying.
tree was the
Maybe.
thing, but it really wasn't. That was just a red herring. It was just kinda she has to be brave enough to do the thing, you
I
know?
have a lot of questions around the logistics of just dropping a bouquet of flowers and a tree growing from that as well. Like,
Right.
I'm not
Seriously.
like some sort of master gardener, but I don't think that's how those things work.
No, I kill everything. Everything. Oh, you should have seen us trying to grow jalapenos this year. But, like, yeah, like, I don't
I
think it
can
works like
never
that.
get I got 1, maybe 2 jalapenos from my
Us
plant this
too.
year. They're
Us too,
not good.
man.
Peppers, I'm never
They're
great with.
tiny. No, we didn't do good
Tomatoes
last year.
go ape shit, but
Yeah.
peppers, not great. I'm actually trying to
Man,
grow some inside now just to have something to do during the winter, but
there you go. That's a good idea.
yeah,
Oh, the
yeah.
people this is what they came for, right? 2, 40 somethings talking about gardening?
I mean, are you on the TikToks? You are, right?
I don't know how to TikTok. I don't.
I don't know how to like, well, I do. I shouldn't say that. I have posted things, but like the majority of my content is gardening. It's a lot of gardening, a lot of
Oh.
beekeeping, and then a lot of like dog videos.
Aw,
And it's yeah, it's nice. But
that is
most of my
nice.
kind of gardening tips have come from that. And for the most part, they've worked out well, but
Alright, I'll get on
peppers,
the
not
TikTok,
great.
try to get it for next year. I'm doing it. I am having a summer full of jalapenos.
It is very nice. Like tomatoes, once you find
Yeah.
out that you can cultivate tomato plants, like I feel like I talked about this in the last episode too, but tomato plants as they grow, they get those there's the leaves that come out like pretty much straight from the stalk or whatever you call
Mhm.
it that are like the sun, they catch the sun and get the energy. And then it's almost like a elbow and a shoot will come out from the where the two kind of connect. And if you
Uh-huh.
just snip that off and literally just put it in the ground, and a whole other tomato plant will grow.
Holy shit.
And once you discover that, it is impossible to like see one coming out and not like just do it. So
Alright.
we just have tomato plants everywhere.
I'm gonna remember this.
And then the other fun fact that I've learned is you can trim the stems coming out or
Uh-huh.
branches. And if you trim them, the tomato plant will just keep growing up. So if you trim them as it grows, you can get a tomato plant that's like just grows up the side of your house. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, it's a real thing.
I wanna do this next year. Alright, okay. I'm
It's
in.
very fun. I will send you
I wanna
actually
go
tomorrow.
ham on tomatoes.
We got like a small no, what is it? Trellis, not like you walk through it. A
Oh,
hopa. Uh
an archway
yeah, sure. I'll send
thing?
you a picture
And
because
is it
we
just
I
full
just
of
have like the
tomatoes?
tomato plant like growing up the entire thing. And then I tried to grow loofahs this year also, which took
What?
forever to get started, but then once it did, it just went wild. And
Interesting.
unfortunately, it started too late. And now like I'm finally getting like one loofah growing, but we're
Yeah.
gonna have a frost before it gets too far.
Son of a bitch. Do you feel like you're just trying to recreate living with the land in your backyard?
Kind of like it
Yeah.
is very like speaking of, therapeutic, like
Mhm.
when I work from home, I'll just walk out back and then just go
Yeah.
look at the tomato plants and like trim some and do that. Like it's
I'm
very
that,
therapeutic.
but with the bird feeder right now.
Oh, yeah, that's nice too.
Watching them fight over it, watch what comes to visit, the cardinals. Oh, the cardinals, the
Have you
squirrels.
taken to this whole like trying to befriend a crow? Like you can get them to bring you gifts?
No, I don't wanna bother them. No, I'm just kidding. They seem like, they'd probably find somebody cooler. No, I'm not sure how prolific crows are around here. I don't know that
Hmm.
I've ever seen one in
I
my
didn't
little
think so
corner
here
of
either.
Ohio.
But then once I started thinking about trying to do it, which I did for like 2 days and it didn't work out, like now I see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, anyway,
Is there a
where
is there
the
a call I can do in the backyard? Like, "Caw-caw?"
no, apparently the
Okay.
thing is like as long as they see you like putting out food just for them and
Oh,
like they
okay.
think that you're giving them this, they will
Then we got a
start
thing.
leaving things for you. Like they love shiny objects. So like you'll find
Oh.
like a button that they found somewhere or like,
Aw.
change or there's these stories of like people finding like jewelry.
Aw, that's adorable. Okay,
It's a whole
maybe.
thing.
Joe,
Um
you're, like, changing my life. I got all these new things I gotta do, hobbies, things that are just gonna make me better.
I appreciate it.
Thank
Like
you.
it fills up my time, so I would love to compare notes. Um, so so
Yes.
Anna's trying to sell the house. The whole kind of deadline is that there's like 12 days until the open
Yeah.
house, which by the way, I have not been to a lot of open houses, but they're fixing up the place, they're getting it ready to sell.
There's
And
nothing
then
wrong with it.
no, but
It's
Anna
beautiful.
comes up with this idea that like, oh, the open house will be a roaring 20s theme and
Yeah,
we'll have like a
a party.
party and like
Bartenders.
Ruby's on board to like help plan this thing. I've never heard of an open house having a theme. Like I didn't
No.
realize that was a thing. I don't think it is a thing. But
Maybe in, like, very expensive homes that I would never be looking at, but, like, at
yeah.
most, like, a plate of cookies, right? Like she said in the beginning of the movie, she's like, "S this makes it smell good." I've always heard that.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Or did I learn that from Ozark, from the 1st season of Ozark? I have no idea.
Probably.
It's probably came from television, but, like, seriously, nobody's gonna have a party.
You know what I've learned too? If you're making chocolate chip cookies, take a little bit of that vanilla and put it behind your ear, and that's how you're going to attract a man when you're out.
Has it worked for you?
I don't know where I picked up on that, but like I know I heard it somewhere. And
I've
now
never heard that.
every time we use anything with vanilla and I'm cooking, I will put a little behind my ear just because I think it's funny.
We're the
And
same age. Do you remember everybody in our, like, high school vanilla fields? Every girl smelled
oh
like
my god,
friggin'
yes,
vanilla. Ugh, it's
yeah,
gross.
it was eventually replaced with CK1, and then
Yes.
that was that. Um, so they're planning this thing. For some reason, Anna lets Ruby take care of the logistics
Ruby's like, "I could do everything I need to from your phone."
for your
Seriously?
phone.
Nobody's
I
gonna
know.
call you?
But like also Ruby has not been in the outside world for 100 years. Like we have this scene where she
Yeah.
goes out and like she sees cars and like I always love those sort of things. At what point, Anna, did you think that okay, yeah, she's ready to plan an entire party? Like she
Seriously, like, she knows how to use the phone, she understands what a charge card's gonna do, like, she gets it.
Yeah, it's insane. So and this is also when Anna and Elliot are kind of rekindling things. Like Anna actually asks him out on like a date, and things are going well. And this is where, and I agree with you, like there's not a lot of chemistry between them, and he feels very flat. And I
Yeah.
think that's what kind of threw me off. Like I really liked her. I thought she was good in this. He just felt like he kind of sucked the life out of a lot of things, and I don't understand how they have fun together.
No, like that one of my notes came from my husband, Freddie, who
Mhm.
said, "These people have never farted in front of each other."
Yes. Yep.
You could just tell, but they were supposedly together for years, and it was, like, serious, but I just
Yeah.
don't get it, and they're together in real
Well, they were
life?
engaged, right? Like the whole thing is we find out like they were
Yeah.
engaged and she ended up backing out. So like he's very apprehensive in this thing. And like at a certain point, he is supposed to move to Boston to restore this home that he's trying to get approved. So that's kind of looming. And like her apprehension is, well, he's leaving. I don't know if I should even bother pursuing this, but she
Yeah.
does. They kind of have this moment, and I think they may even kiss, but like they have this moment where they're like, all right, maybe we should give this a go. But then he explains, like, I'm just still very nervous based on you kind of backing out of our would be marriage.
Right.
Um, and then what? Like, the dad finds out, they have a falling out. Ruby gets pissed. Like,
Every
typical.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was great was it was the dad was like, "No, I canceled your entire open house. This is
Right.
stupid. Maybe I shouldn't have hired you and trusted you and given life to you."
I
Um,
mean, I
and
didn't
she's
agree
a
with the father much, but at that point, I was like, yeah, like, I
yeah.
think you did, dad. Like, this was
She's
not
kinda a drip, but, like, instead of being an adult woman and telling this man that you love, "I'm so sorry, my father, this whole thing blew up on me, and it was really important to me that I take care of this." Instead, she's just like, "Bah,
I
and then
disappeared.
Elliot
Yeah.
runs away, like, whatever. She just got so mad at her.
Yeah, it was very like, I guess that's what they had to do for the storyline, but it was like it felt
Yeah.
like this all could have been cleared up with like a 3-minute conversation.
Yes.
Um and then Ruby and her kind of have a falling out because like she gets pissed that Ruby fucked up
She
the
spent
open house, but like
thousands of dollars.
she maxed out her credit card, like apparently had like two catering companies coming, and it's like, Anna, you left a ghost that hasn't seen the world in 100 years in charge of your planning. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
I seriously, it shows a lack of judgment.
Or like maybe just check in, or
Yeah.
hey, before I leave you, should we talk through what needs to be done? Like
Mhm. Let's make a list.
again, her father was a dick, but like he had
Yeah,
some valid points
yeah.
that this might have been too much for her. But then obviously everything works out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anna ends up submitting the house as a national landmark, so they can't tear it down like the father wants to do because he's about to sell it to this whatever
Like,
landowner that's gonna
yeah.
pretty much just demo the entire thing. Which, by the way, this entire thing of hey, it's a national landmark now, you can't do it anything, and dad, you need to like trust me and blah blah blah,
Right.
all takes place in front of this potential client, which I
And
thought was insane.
it's very unprofessional.
And the guy's just like sitting there like, all right, so should I leave or what's
Right.
happening here? Um, which I thought was very funny. And yeah, that's kind of where we go back to the house. Elliot's there. Anna and Elliot get together. Ruby's there. She's ready to move on. Charlie shows up, her former love. And everything's kind of
Oh,
wrapped up in a bow. My favorite scene as this is wrapping up is like as things are closing, Ruby starts to fade a little bit, and that's how we realize, oh, okay, she's gonna cross over. But then she's there for like 5 more minutes,
yeah, she's
and
got plenty of time to say her goodbyes.
there's like because we've all seen hundreds of these movies, right? Where it's just like, oh, I fade away now and I'm gone. This was like, I'm gonna fade a little bit, then we're gonna hang out, maybe
Yep.
watch a game. Should we get lunch? I'll finish up my fading after we wrap.
Right,
Um,
right. When you're ready, Anna, I'll go.
Um, and what excuse me. So it turns out Elliot's not going to Boston, right? Or is he? I
You
don't
know
even
what,
remember.
well, first of all, this movie, they had the great uncle twist.
Right.
That was
Yes.
a bridge too far movie, It turns out that the chauffeur dude, Charles,
Mhm.
is Elliot's great uncle or great uncle,
Yes.
and that is how, like, Anna realizes, like, she's been part of Ruby's story all along, and then Uncle Charles comes out, and then he takes Ruby away, and then we
And
all
then
say, "I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all."
yeah, and then Elliot's like, "That was my Uncle Charles. That's
Mhm.
weird." And, like, that he
Yep.
also just accepts, like, this is the way that the world is.
Ghosts are real.
Just yeah, like, nobody is freaked out by this.
No.
Did you see that coming? Leslie's prediction, and I agreed with it when she said it, was that Ruby was gonna end up being Anna's mother or, like, grandmother or something, you know?
Honestly, I wasn't thinking about their connection,
Mm,
I was just so stuck on the dumb tree because I feel like the movie wanted me to be, but
yeah.
Leslie's very smart to, like, clue in on the relative stuff. Because I was
There
like,
wa
"Really, movie?
Well,
Really?"
I feel like we've seen some of these too where, like, it does always
Yeah.
turn out that, like, so and so is related to so and so or something.
It's like what everybody was mad about with the new Star Trek trilogy.
But oh,
Why she gotta
man.
be a Skywalker? I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just trying to compare some pop culture stuff for you.
Um, was it but yeah, the tree never, we get this, it's dying and it's kind of going his way, which by the way, that, I don't know what the word is, but the woman who comes and kind of assesses that it's reaching the end of its life cycle, very weird sort of, what did she say? Like, it's reaching the end of its life. Sometimes you just
Mhm.
have to accept these things. Like, aren't you here to just tell me the plant's, like, gonna
That
die?
didn't
Like,
feel scientific, ma'am,
no, it's
at
very
all.
much like the doctor, right? Where he's just
Yeah.
like, oh, you did have this breakup.
You're just sad about a man.
Yeah, Anna gets a
Yeah,
lot of weird advice from a
very
lot of just
pointed.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Leave
and
Anna
that's where we
alone.
we kind of wrap up. Ruby fades off into the unknown with Charlie and,
Life is good.
Elliot and Anna. What do they end up doing? I
I
forget at
think
this point.
they're gonna restore the house,
Yeah.
and sell it, I guess, or
Yeah.
something. Heck if I know. I just know that they're gonna be happy forever and ever.
I assumed there was a like a bed and breakfast in the future here. Like
Oh my
they were
god,
gonna turn
please.
it into that and like run it and like that was gonna be the rest of their
Yeah.
life.
Did you
Um
did
yeah.
the title piss you off a little? Because I feel like this house has more than 3 bedrooms.
Oh, it
It's
probably
big.
did. It mostly annoyed me because I kept adding one cup at the end of it. Three bed, two bath, one ghost, two girls, one cup,
Yep.
which
God
is
bless it. I love it.
a much different movie, I assume.
Can I ask
Uh
you a question?
oh, please.
So, while I was watching this and there's a scene where all Anna had to say was or she's trying to explain about the ghost or whatever, and
Yeah.
she's trying to appeal to Elliot a little bit, and he's just like, "Nah, but nah, you're nah," and he just kind of wanders off. And I looked
Mhm.
at Freddie and I was like, "Would you believe me if I came to you and I said there's a ghost?" And he said, "As long as you could produce some evidence."
Hmm. I
But
feel like
I
Freddie would believe you. He seems like that nice guy.
no, he's a big old skeptic and kind of an ass about it sometimes, but I think
Yeah,
he'd
all
also
right.
pretend to believe me for a little bit, but I would have to produce evidence. What do you think
Yeah.
Leslie would do if you were
I
like,
would
"Hey, babe."
I feel like and I hope she agrees because I know she's going to listen to this. I feel like the roles would be reversed and Leslie would be the one to come to me and say she has
Oh,
seen
yeah.
a ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like I would be similar to Freddie where I would humor her, but I would not believe unless she could produce some sort of evidence to me.
I mean, this movie, if the ghost world and mythology worked like this movie, it'd be very easy. You just say, "Hey,
Yeah.
ghost, knock this cup off this table now,"
Yeah.
and it
Or run
happens,
through me. Yeah.
or run through me and I'll feel it. Like, it's yeah. This movie would make it so easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
But but
Whereas
but
on
Anna
the
didn't do any of that.
On the flip side, if I saw one and went to Leslie, like, she is so wonderful and open-minded, she would just be like, "Yes, I get that. Uh-huh. I
She'd be like,
believe
"Let's
you."
get
Like,
you an exorcist. We'll get a priest in here, an old priest,
yeah.
young priest. We'll get it taken care of."
Or she'd just put her hand on my shoulder and be like, "It seems like you just need to find a man." Like, that might
"You
clear things
sad
up
about
for
a
you.
man?
You did have that breakup, Joe.
You lost all the meaning in your life, didn't you?"
Um, so that is 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost. Or I should say, anything else you wanna
Sure.
touch on this? Otherwise, we'll kinda wrap things up.
No, sir, I believe that's all I had.
Terrific. So I tried to warn you, but you're happily ever after. Like, who from this
Yeah,
movie do you think you could spend the rest of your life with, or ride off into the sunset, or just live in a house for eternity?
for eternity. Well, it's not Terrence, the villain of the piece.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Terrence, but
Smuggle Terrence. I mean, Ruby for sure. She's the
yeah,
most exciting, vibrant, interesting person. Yeah, I would hang out. We would be lovers. Sure.
yeah, I agree. I would go
Yeah.
with Ruby as well. Mostly because I don't remember a lot of other characters.
There really weren't.
Anna's got too much going on.
Yeah.
Elliot, I thought was a dud.
I mean,
Anna's
I can hang
dad
with
is
Elliot.
a
Oh,
jerk.
screw
Yeah.
him. Terrence,
Maybe
no.
I was maybe Terrence. Like Terrence, I feel like I could watch Housewives with and
Oh,
really
yeah, it
have
would be
some
shady.
right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that could be a lot of fun. So I don't know. I wouldn't 100% cross Terrence off the list there.
You could do a Housewives rewatch podcast with Terrence.
Right?
Yeah, I'd be
You
into
know
that.
who was, I think, the father at the very beginning? Lyndon Banks, who I am looking through his IMDb. You will 100% recognize him, but
Lyndon
I
B.
cannot find anything that I've actually seen him in. But when you see him, you will absolutely be like, oh, yeah, I know who that guy is.
You know, we watch so much old stuff, and I find
Yeah.
myself creeping on IMDb looking for how people died weird and interestingly. But also, you stumble across these people that you're like, I know you, and you
Yeah.
look at their credits, and you're like, one episode of maybe something you might have seen, and one episode of this, but you realize it's the breadth and like quantity of it is
Yeah.
probably they have crossed your eyeballs more than once. But you
I
just like don't
also
remember.
maybe mixing him up with the guy. Do you remember that show Hunter that was on like
Yeah,
I
loved
he
it.
looks a lot like that guy, but that is not him, and I may just
Uh,
getting him mixed up with that. But I guarantee you, when you get
yeah,
a second, go look at the IMDb bizzles,
the Bizzles.
and I feel like you'll recognize this guy.
Sure.
Um, so that is 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost. Amy, thumbs up, thumbs down. What would you recommend this one?
I'm thumbs ambivalent, as my friend
Mhm.
Kelly likes to say, in the middle. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like,
Yeah,
it was missing a
I
little,
there was moments, and I want to say about halfway in, I said to Leslie, like, I really like this movie, and I was having a lot of fun. And I think the Anna and Ruby storyline and their interactions,
yeah,
I loved. It was the Ellie and Anna stuff that kind of dragged me
dragged
down
it, and
when
the
they were
dad
on.
stuff.
Um, and so yeah. So I would say yes, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we just took the whole romance storyline out of it. But
I mean, really, it could have just been like, Anna and Ruby learning the Charleston and then maybe like the flossing and dabbing. They could teach each other all kinds of dances.
I feel like 3 years from now, there's a version of this where Anna and Ruby get together because there were
Yes.
scenes where I'm like, "Are they about to kiss? Like,
I
is
mean,
this
they
gonna
had
happen?"
more chemistry than
Yeah,
seriously.
I agree. But that's a whole different movie.
I mean, that's
And
not gonna
when
be on Hallmark first.
you
It'll be
can
on, like, Showtime.
probably find that on like RedTube or whatever the
Yes.
the site is. Um, so that's that. Smalltownfailingpodcast.com. You can get back episodes, the videos, all the fun, the socials. Instagram, follow us there. We post up. You can send in questions. We got a couple this week. First one from actually Elisa, who I think you probably met at the Bloody Good Horror Chicago meetup.
Oh, yeah?
If
Well,
not, you
hello.
were in the
Hi.
vicinity.
I was
But
there.
she helped organize the entire thing. She's an amazing person. Leslie and I went out for her birthday a few weeks ago. She
Cool.
was on an episode recently, so wonderful. But she sent in a question. If you were a ghost, what would you do to let your friends and family know you were there? So Ruby, there is one scene where she's trying to get Elliot's attention to stop him from going to Boston, and she ends up like throwing a vase on the ground, and like
Yeah. She
that's
starts
how.
screaming at him first as
Yeah,
if, "Ma'am,
and
just
there
throw the
are
vase."
like kind of tinges of like, oh, maybe he can hear her, but like not
Right.
fully. So I don't know. How would you like? Okay, so you drop tomorrow. How do you let Freddie know that you are haunting your house, and he better not like move on too quickly?
Oh. I mean, I think he would understand it was me if I just give him little butt pinches. It's kind of our thing.
Oh, there you
And a
go.
little, he's just doing the dishes, and I'm like, "Squeeze, squeeze,"
Little tickle
little love
there.
pinch
I
on
feel
the
like that.
old booty
Yeah,
buns.
yeah. With Leslie, I feel like that would work too. But
Yeah.
maybe with the up top buttons or other places.
Or, like, constantly changing the television channel to, like, my favorite Star Trek episodes or something like that.
Oh, there you go. That's a
Real
good one too.
annoying. Or my
Yeah.
favorite, like, Real Housewives of Potomac. Just,
Oh,
like, throw
is
that
that your
up.
favorite? Is Potomac your favorite? Like, do
Potomac
you?
is my favorite, but man, is Salt Lake giving it right now.
It is that. What was it?
Give
Like the
it
third or fourth
it.
episode, the like dinner fight. Like
Yeah. You can
Leslie and I
leave.
watched that. We did not speak for like 5 minutes after, but like I would put that up
Compelling.
there with Scary Island,
Oh,
Dinner Party
yes.
from Hell. Like
Yes, yes.
it was amazing. And then
Oh.
Heather Gay throwing up in the runner after. Which, by the way, what's your stance on Heather Gay? I'm curious.
I have always liked her. I think she's an
Yeah.
imperfect person. I did start her audiobook recently, but I was
Oh,
like,
interesting.
I got a few chapters in and I'm like, it wasn't like I might read it. Audiobook wasn't working for me, but because it's
Yeah.
like a lot of heavy, like, and then we were Mormon and we did this because we were Mormon and then we did that. And I was like, I want to get to the like juicy stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I first season loved her, I think like everyone else, and then
yeah.
maybe
The whole
even the
black
second.
eye thing, I don't get.
Exactly. Like
I don't get it.
I think the Jen Shaw stuff just kind of
Yeah.
unfortunately brought her down a few with a lot of people, and I would love to see her get back up, but I don't think she can get there.
Yeah. So you're
Have you
not
been
feeling
watch
real good about her?
I
It's a big deal. And then Whitney on her healing journey. I just gotta
fucking
stop.
Whitney, dear God. Like,
Hey, thank you, Joe. Like, I don't have a lot of people in my life I can talk to about this.
oh my God. I We should have led with this. Yeah, Whitney, I just same thing. I want to like her, but like
I know, but I
her drama just feels so forced and
so
like just
fake.
grasping. Yeah. Are you watching New York, the newer season?
I have not started the new season. I was gonna wait till it was done.
It just wrapped
What are you
the
thinking?
finale. I liked it. I liked it a
Okay.
lot. Like
Alright.
it's interesting. There is a character in there. I don't want to give anything away because you're gonna watch, but
Alright.
like there was a character first two episodes. I'm like, I hate this person. I'm gonna put them up there with like you know, what the
Ramona?
Teresa or Ramona.
Oh,
Yeah.
Teresa. Yeah.
But by the end, I was like, this person's amazing. Like, yeah.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I'm
Okay.
curious to see your journey. And
I
then
was like
there's one person on there that you're just gonna love during the entire thing. Like she's
yeah.
yeah.
I just
Um
feel like I was like, maybe I can just make a clean break with New York and have one less city to
mm-mm.
follow, but maybe not.
No, it's good. The reboot is worth it for
Alright.
sure.
Alright, I'm in.
So yeah, that's that smalltownfailingpodcast .com. You can get all the back episodes, all the Instagrams and Twitters and all that fun. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen, if you could please review, it is a huge help. Amy,
Mhm.
notlp.com is the website, and you can get
Yep.
all your fun. You guys have a Patreon, which folks
That we
can
do.
join. What else do you want to plug, or what else can you plug?
That's it. NOTLP at Night of Living Podcast everywhere you find Joe's podcast, you can find us. Yeah, listen, it's been a labor of love for a
Yeah.
really long time, and I'm really proud of what we've created.
Oh, it's amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm so proud of the community we've created around it, and then we've been going back to old episodes and kind of reckoning with the way we talked and the way we acted and the way we
yeah,
behaved from like 12 years ago right now is where we're at, and like apologizing, and that's felt really interesting to do.
it's
Um,
tough, right? Like
yeah.
I every once in a while used to go back and read the news that I would write for Bloody Good Horror, and there's just like
Yeah, you're
stuff
like,
I said, and
"Why
I'm just
did
like,
I
oh God,
why
like
was I did I have to write that?" But it's been really
yeah,
cathartic, so I don't
yeah.
know.
It's
Growth, man.
17 years is a long time. Like
Yeah, seriously, I was in my
it's
20s, now I'm 43.
like there's stuff, and yeah. Every once in a while, I'll poke around old back episodes of Bloody Good Horror, and yeah, the
Yeah.
stuff we said is just like, oh God,
Right,
and
right.
I think over the years we lost some listeners because we veered away for that and grew up and matured and
Yeah, isn't that
you know,
crazy? But what are you
it
gonna
is
do?
what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like you guys have been around for so long. You have this amazing community. I will say, like, I don't regret leaving Bloody Good Horror, but I do miss kind of that love that we got.
Right.
So I totally get it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, you guys keep on trucking
Well,
as
thanks, I think we will, just because you said.
Well, yeah, were you gonna wrap it up after this year, and now
Yeah, I
you're like,
wasn't
"Alright."
sure, we were really no, I'm gonna do this till I'm dead, man. I don't know.
I want you to hang up and then go to the other room and like, "Freddie, I
We're
don't know, I
done.
was talking to Joe at the end of this. I think maybe
1 more year. He said,
let's
"Alright, 1 more
do it."
year."
Um, but thank you so much. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
you taking the
me.
time to do this. And yeah, I feel like I know what we're doing on the next episode, but I don't remember off the top of my head. We are just gonna dive right into the holidays, like
Mm,
you might as well because it's time.
crazy.
And yeah, so that'll do it. Thanks again, Amy, and we will talk to you all next time. All right, bye.
Thanks, Joe, bye.
There it is.